Welcome, one and all, to another episode of Pacific 4 and 4 episode reviews. I am your host, Mike. Of course, I am. Anyways, today I'm going to be reviewing episode 8 of season 3 for Star Trek Discovery, Star Trek Disgracery, Star Trek soap opera of the 21st century, The Sanctuary. Because that's what we got from this episode. More of the same. More of the same from Star Trek Discovery. Everybody's got to cry at some point, and we did see some crying in this episode. We did get in touch with people's feelings in this episode. Not that I'm against getting in touch with people's feelings and all that, but every freaking episode? Come on. Anyways, this episode, I'm just going to give you a quick rundown. I'm not going to go into a full description as to what went on. And basically, the Admiral Code and Cyrus are looking for Booker, and they're looking for the Andorian that we met in the one episode where they're at that salvage yard. I've already forgotten the name of the episode. Shows how much I care. But anyways, you know, the Federation is trying to do what it can to find out what's going on as far as the source of the burn is concerned. Well, I should say Michael Burnham and the crew of Discovery are, but mainly Michael Burnham. And long story short, the cause of the burn, its originating point comes from a distress signal from a Federation starship. Now, we don't actually go into any further detail as far as actually going to this point of origin. Nah. We've got a little side story to go on with Silas and the Admiral Code because they want more resources or something from this planet that Booker lives on, and with all the space worms. Remember the space worms that we saw in the first episode of the season? Well, one of them's back. One of them eats Cyrus's brother. Yeah, and with the way this thing tore apart Cyrus's brother, or Silas, whatever it is, well, I'm surprised it didn't happen to Burnham. Well, wait a minute. Burnham's the star of the show, so you don't want to get rid of the star. And, if there's anything that this particular Star Trek series does that its predecessors didn't ever do, is it didn't just focus on the captain and only the captain. Yeah, you could say the original series focused on Spock, Kirk, and McCoy, and you'd be 100% correct. But in Next Generation, we got stories that involved a Geordi story, a Data story, a Worf story, a Deanna story, a Riker story, even a Wesley Crusher story, even a Beverly Crusher story. And the same went on with DS9. It wasn't just all about Cisco being the emissary. It wasn't all about Kira's grudge against Cardassians. We got to find out a little bit more than what we already knew about Chief O'Brien. We got a Ferengi story, about Quark, Rom, Nog, Dr. Bashir, our man Bashir. He fancied himself as a James Bond type of secret agent, and he had a few Holosuite episodes, and, he was always going after Jadzia, even though she had no interest in him. And we, of course, speaking of Jadzia, we got stories about her, Jake, and then it continued to a certain extent on Voyager, although it primarily focused on Janeway and Seven to Nine and the Doctor later on. Unfortunately, there was no character growth for Harry Kim, which is a damn shame. Chakotay, a damn shame. Even B'Elanna got some character development. Tom Paris got some character development. And then, of course, Enterprise being a prequel could do character development better than this show. But now we gotta go to this planet for some reason. They get there. Booker's brother's in trouble for some reason. Oh yeah, that's right. The Emerald Cove is after them. And I'm just gonna cut to it. I don't want to make this a long review. If you watch any of these previous episode reviews I've done for Discovery, you know how much I dislike this particular version of Star Trek. Sorry, I don't like it. If if you have a different opinion, go ahead, leave it in the chat. We can have a discussion. But I don't like it. But anyways, Booker gets a message from his brother, and not biological brother, but you've been around someone for so long, you've been raised together, you might as well be brothers because you essentially are. But anyways, he gets a call from his brother. His brother's in trouble. They go to Booker's homeworld, the homeworld where we first see Booker bring back the space worms, the same one that we saw in episode 1 this season, the same one that we see in this episode. Once again, eat away at Cyrus's, whatever her name is, brother. Again, Star Trek Discovery. I I don't really care about going all over the plot points. And honestly, this episode was more of the same. So let me just say that. I know. Get to the point. Stay on topic. But this is my review. I'm gonna go all over the place. Just to let you know. But anyways, Booker's brother's in trouble, and the reason why he got this distress signal in the first place is because remember the Andorian character, Ring or Ren. Well, that Andorian character who had his antennae clipped off. Surprised they haven't grown back yet, because after all, we did find out in Enterprise from Shran himself, the one character that called Captain Archer Pinkskin. Well, we did find out in Enterprise that the antennae could grow back. So, you know, what we come to find out is she's after Ren. He knows the fact that the Emerald Syndicate, the Emerald Corps, the Emerald Order, the New World Order. Oh, wait a minute. That was a good faction in WCW. Sorry. Off topic again. Excuse me. But, anyways, we come to find out, and this is later on in the episode, so like I've done before, skipping over parts. But we find out that they're running low on dilithium like everyone else in the quadrant. We also come to find out that the Federation, Starfleet, is looked on as the bad guys. And that's another thing with Kurtzman Trek. Why does the Federation, Starfleet, have to be the bad guys? Come on. There are plenty of bad guys, characters to choose from. But nah, we want to make the Federation untrustworthy because, you know, Rand says it, a couple other people say it, that you get help from the Federation wants something in return. Funny? I don't recall any previous incarnation of Star Trek saying, okay, we're the United Federation of Planets. I'm Captain James T. Kirk of the Starship Enterprise, representing the United Federation of Planets. We help you. We want this in return. No, they never asked for anything in return. Yet, in this episode, you're led to believe by Booker's brother and then Ren that the Federation has an asking price for their help. And, the Federation will send you to summer camp. Let me guess. It's supposed to be some kind of prison, supposed to be some sort of, concentration camp. Who knows with Kurtzman Trek? But, the Federation is it's viewed as cowards in Kurtzman Trek. The Federation will just tuck its tail and run. There's this big boom. Instead of trying to find out the cause and the source, and we do find out the source in this episode. It comes from this starship in a nebula, which we never go to, by the way. No. We go to Booker's planet. Then maybe we're gonna go to the Nebula. Oh no, wait, no. What it looks like in next week's episode, yeah, no, it's gonna be Giorgio, and Michael Burnham and Giorgio's once again having her blackouts, which they touched up again even more in this episode, and she's acting like she's big bad empress in the mirror universe. Well, guess what? You're not in the mirror universe anymore. You're in. I'm not even gonna call this the Prime universe because it's definitely not the Prime universe. It's the Kelvin universe. Come on. I mean, Bad Robot did the movies, and then I don't know, Kurtzman's production company, whatever the hell that thing's called, does this show. But anyhow, as we come to find out, Booker's brother is working with the Emerald Corps to lure Booker to the planet that they live on because they have Ren, and Ren doesn't want anything to do with it. He doesn't even want to be on Discovery. And the reason why he doesn't want to be on Discovery is because of the secret I told you about earlier about him knowing about the fact that the Emerald Core is running out of dilithium. And oh gosh, I can't even concentrate on giving this episode review. How much I just despise this show anymore. Even watching this episode was a chore. But anyways, they have a little back and forth, and a little spat saying you weren't even there for our grandfathers when they were on their deathbed, and this is Booker's brother telling Book that, and of course he calls him by the name that he knows him as from that planet, and you know Booker says, "I don't go by that anymore." And then it leads to a family spat, and you know, Cyrus communicates with Booker's brother via the holo communicator, which still sounds like it's a garbled mess. You would think with the show taking place in the 31st century, holo technology would be a hell of a lot better than what it is in the 24th century when we see Cisco and the Federation using holo communicators. But anyways, long story short, and I'm gonna cut this review short. Is Discovery goes to the planet. Cyrus is there. Discovery can't interfere unless provoked, of course. Cyrus starts firing on the planet when Booker's brother doesn't help her out and getting Ren, the Andorian. She fires torpedoes at the planet. The defense system of the planet, which is its shield, is compromised. Michael Burnham and Booker going to repair it. They're ambushed. And, you know, another thing that comes to mind is that, the Federation just wants to be an observer in this episode so they don't interfere with Cyrus because they're afraid of Cyrus. They don't have enough ships because of the lithium shortage. So, even Saru doesn't want to get into a firefight. Even when Cyrus's ship, the Viridian, and the only reason I remember that it's called the Viridian is because there was a planet called Viridian 3 in Star Trek Generations where Dr. Tolian Soren launched his rocket toward the Viridian star and it went supernova and ended up destroying the planet and sending both Soren and Picard into the Nexus. But anyways, back to Discovery. We come to find out that Cyrus isn't afraid to use Booker's brother to get what she needs and threaten basically to kill his young son. Well, of course, Booker's brother is afraid. They surround Michael Burnham and Booker, they being the other people with Booker's brother, and they threaten to kill each other. And of course, then we get back up in space where the Viridian's still attacking the planet. Of course, that's why Burnham and Booker have to repair the shield. And what ends up happening is Lieutenant Detler, and Ren end up going on Booker's ship and using it to attack the Viridian, since Discovery doesn't want to get involved, and then end up involving the Federation, which, because of the lithium shortage, has very few ships at its disposal, and probably would end up getting their butts kicked. So Detmer and Rand get on Booker's ship, and Detmer's having a hard time controlling the ship using the console. So, you know, torpedoes and weapons fire everywhere, hitting Booker's ship. And Detmer gets to the point where she needs to fly manual, so these two manual analog controls pop out, and Detmer says that she's gonna fly the way she learned, and we see her basically. We see in this episode, basically, is what I should say, is a recreation from Shattered Mirror, which was a fourth season episode of DS9, a recreation of the Defiant going against the Negvar, except this time it's Booker's ship going against the Viridian. So basically, that's Discovery's take on that fight. Well, gotta say, Detmer's a good pilot. Sisko was a good pilot because I can remember in the episode Shattered Universe, Smiley, because that's what they called O'Brien and the Mirror Universe, says, their shields are down to 10%. One more hit can finish us. And Sisko says that then we're going to have to, you know, have another maneuver. And Smiley goes, "What's that? Sorry, but you're not going to be flying the ship in this maneuver." Because basically, what it is Smiley says pattern suicide after Captain Sisko lets him know that they're going to fly right at the Negvar, and Sisko's at the helm doing all sorts of crazy maneuvers. The Negvar's not even hitting the Defiant because it's flying too close. Even the Klingon tactical officer on board the Negvar, which is under command of the Mirror Universe Worf, says that the Defiant's flying too close and he can't get a target lock on it. And Sisko takes care of it. Well, obviously, somebody had to have seen clips of that episode because they try to recreate that with Detmer and Rand on Booker's ship. And, basically the same thing happens. The ship, being the Viridian, gets its ass kicked. And, long story short, the Viridian pulls out of the system, but before they do that, they send a message to the Discovery saying, "The Federation's days are numbered, your days are numbered, you're now marked for destruction." And Booker and his brother on the planet make peace, and the main reason why they make peace is because of Michael Burnham, because one problem that they're also having on this planet is locusts, and they're eating the harvest of all the crops on this planet. So it's up to Booker and his brother to use their empathic powers and basically send these locusts back where they came from. And they end up doing that with help of Discovery once Burnham's back on board. And they amplify the signal by using. I'm not sure if it's the communications array. If someone can help me out, it's the one deflector that's right underneath the sausage section. I'm drawing a blank on it right now. But anyways, they use that to amplify the signal. They clear away the locusts, and then all is right in the world. All is right in the galaxy. We don't know if this planet's Alpha Quadrant or the Beta Quadrant, Gamma Quadrant, Delta Quadrant. I can only presume, not assume, not assume, but presume that this is in possibly the Alpha Quadrant. But anyways, after all is said and done, the locusts, go back where they came from. Booker and his brother make peace, and they even come aboard Discovery. And his brother says, "So this is your new home?" And Booker says, "No." But then, one thing he ends up telling Michael Burnham is that he wants to be a part of this life. Now, is he saying he wants to be a permanent member of Discovery? Does he want to join Starfleet? Now, I would be interested in finding out, that aspect of his journey. Does he actually join Starfleet? Because he even says in this episode he's seen what good the Federation can do, what Starfleet can do. So, is he going to end up joining Starfleet? And see, of all the characters in this season, I'm actually liking Book. Now, and I know we haven't got too much of a history on Book. We've gotten some. We've gotten some. I'll say that, but we haven't gotten too much of a history on Book. But still, it'd be nice to see his character have a journey where he possibly joins Starfleet. Maybe isn't assigned to Discovery, but he's assigned to one one of the newly christened starships of the Federation that actually can go places because, by that time the Federation has a source of dilithium or maybe a spore drive of its own. And maybe, just maybe, I know I'm going out on a limb here and I'm probably asking for too much, but just maybe Booker can be stationed aboard the newest NCC 1701. Now, it won't be the J, and it certainly won't be the J. Could it be, I don't know, by that point, could it be the M? Could it be the O? Could it be the P? Could it be the Q? you know, that that would be a kicker in itself. If it was the Q and its captain was John Delancey. Not as Q, mind you, but John Delancey as the Enterprise Q's captain. I know, we don't even know if there is an Enterprise, but that would be funny. That of all people to be in command of an Enterprise, it'd be the man who played Q. But, anyways, like I've said here, let me fix the focus. Focus. There we go. But, anyways, like I said, it's meh. There's more the same of Discovery. Some trying moments because, you know, Michael Burnham's always crying, especially when she was talking to Georgiou, who basically, I still have no use for the character. I just wanted to ship her back to the Mirror Universe where the character belongs because obviously, her whole issue right now with her, blacking out and everything is because one, she's 900 years plus in the future, and two, she's in another universe. She's not in her own universe. Because if there's anything that Star Trek fans learned, it was in the episode Parallels. And that was season 7 of Next Generation, where Worf is sent to alternate universes, except a mirror universe, I'm surprised. But alternate universes where they even mention how Worf's shuttlecraft and Worf himself have a different signature, meaning they could tell that he wasn't from their universe. So once they found the right shuttlecraft Curie, I believe, that had the right signature, they tried to send him back. But even when they tried to send Worf back to his own universe, Worf came under attack by an Enterprise that was brought in to that universe that Worf was currently in, because the Enterprise of that universe was under attack by a Bajoran ship, and the Enterprise of that universe had its main deflector going. There was some damage. It caused all these other multiple Enterprise to continuously enter this universe, and it came under attack. You know, I'm just gonna say it. The Enterprise that attacked it, yes, it was a Riker, disheveled, distressed, basically on his last reserve, and you see the War for that universe running around in the background, but it was the 2020 Enterprise, if you want to put it that way. But, you know, they had even said in that episode, he had a signature, and I'm surprised they don't bring up some sort of log, because Worf would have recorded a log, and given his disposition to Starfleet, they would be able to say, on Stardate 49218.7, whatever that Stardate was for that episode, Lieutenant Commander Worf of the Starship Enterprise was sent to alternate universes, and eventually was able to come back once his proper shuttlecraft signal was found, and able to send him back. You know, because Georgiou isn't from this universe, there's no telling what the effect of her being here, especially displaced 900 plus years in the future, will cause. And we need to send her back. Even though they did mention the fact in a previous episode that there has been no incursions from the mirror universe for 400, 500 years. But anyways, that's it with that. Next week's episode, it looks like, it's going to be centered around Michael Burnham and Georgiou. And we see a few things going on in that episode where Georgiou wants Michael Burnham to fight her. Of course, Michael Burnham doesn't fight her. At least from one clip. Who knows what goes on in the full scene. But I found it interesting that we do see an alien in one clip wearing what looked to be a season 1 Next Generation uniform. But it was an alien I certainly don't recall seeing in Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, or Voyager. But maybe next week, if I get a closer look at it, maybe it'll match up to an alien that I remember seeing, or any of you out there that have seen previous Trek incarnations remember seeing it, and we can talk about it. I do want to thank anyone who stopped by during this review and saw what they saw and stuck around for a little bit. I know I was rambling. I know I didn't get to the point. The whole point of these reviews when it comes to Star Trek Discovery is just giving you a quick, rundown. Throw out a few tidbits here and there what went out in the episode, and then just let you know if I thought it was more of the same, if it was good, whatever. But that's pretty much it for this episode, and pretty much it for this review, because I don't want to bore people with any more of this Star Trek Discovery review for this night. And if you hadn't seen before, I will bring up that screen one more time just so you all can see it. I'll just ignore the message that's on it, but at least the one in the middle section. If you like, you don't have to. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at the addresses you see at the bottom of your screen. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to follow this channel while you're watching it here on Twitch, go right on ahead. If you want to subscribe to the Pacific 4 and 4 YouTube channel, again, go right on ahead. Love to have you. Love to have a discussion. And we can talk all things Star Trek. We can talk about a whole lot of things. It doesn't have to be Star Trek. It doesn't have to be The Mandalorian, which I will be doing an episode review tomorrow for The Mandalorian. You know, we know it's chapter 14. I just don't know what the title of episode 6 is yet, but hopefully we will find out. But until then, this has been Mike for Pacific 414 episode reviews. Once again, thank you all for tuning in. I saw at least a couple people tune in during this episode, so that's nice to see. And I will see you all tomorrow for another episode of Pacific 4 and 4 episode reviews, when I review episode 6 of The Mandalorian. So I will see you all later. Have a great night. And as always, take care.